Alright, so this is sort of related to feminist research, but a little side quest. Alright, so because based on history, there seems to be uh, antagonism lately towards men for good reasons, for better or worse. I'm not here to make a complete judgment call on individuals. I'm judging the overall attitude. Alright, so um, how I analyzed this before kind of reading this article a little bit was that there's an echo effect happening. And if you don't know what that is, uh, so I kind of heard of the concept in the birth dearth where a social pattern is repeated into the next generation. Okay, um, uh, so my limited knowledge initially was MGTOW and incels having evolved into this manosphere concept. And so I thought it was the echo effect, but it's actually got this very long history that uh, I will shortly get to. Um, yeah. So, what is the manosphere? Is this an ideal social activism movement? What does taking part of being the manosphere mean? How does the manosphere support toxic masculinity and anti-feminism? This article has everything you need to know about the manosphere movement. Oh, and by the way, my analysis of the manosphere being the echo effect of like Gamergate, kill all men, feminism. Yeah, I don't know, because this has a longer history than just that. Anyways, hi, my name is Sean Gala, a man's group's facilitator for more than 10 years. In my line of work, I create a platform where men can meet other men in a safe environment that allows men to address issues affecting men. Topics include toxic masculinity and toxic men's rights movement under the manosphere, like men going their own way, MGTOW, and incels. Men taking time to understand toxic masculinity and how different organizations support it is an important step in righting the gender wrongs that ail society. In this article, you will learn everything you need to know about the manosphere and how it affects modern society. Alright. Wikipedia defines the manosphere as a collection of websites, social media blogs, and online forums promoting masculinity, online misogyny, and strong opposition to feminism. This movement comprises white men closely linked to alt right and far right movements, often associated with online harassment, implications in men's radicalizations into misogynistic beliefs, and glorifying violence on women. Some reports associate the manosphere radicalization with mass shootings, often motivated by misogyny and even the election of Donald Trump into office. Well, a lot of things downstream from there, but the manosphere formed out of social movements like the 1970s and 80s men's liberation movement. Today, several groups are considered to operate under the manosphere, such as the men's rights movement, MGTOW, and others. The term manosphere is coined from the word blogosphere and is believed to have first been used in a blog post in 2009 and made and later made popular by pornography. Wow, really? Pornography marketer and author Ian Ironwood. News media later used the term to refer to groups of men who commit misogynistic violence, sexual assault, and online harassment, which most manosphere groups are known for. Manosphere online communities encourage resentment, hatred, and bias towards women and girls. Generally, there are four main groups, subreddits, under the manosphere. Men's rights activists, MRAs, advocate political change to benefit men. Men going their own way, MGTOW, a group of men who believe that women are so toxic that men should avoid them altogether. Pickup artists, men teaching other men seduction strategies to be more successful in attracting women. Notable pickup artist figures include Roosh V of the Return of King site. Involuntary celibates, incels, men who feel entitled to a relationship with a woman but are incapable of finding a partner. Um, the Manosphere ideology. While different hate groups under the Manosphere have different beliefs and practices, they are mostly based on shared ideology that promotes misogyny, toxic masculinity, and strong opposition to feminism. The Manosphere ideology is centered on male separatism and strongly believes that feminism has a corrupted society. And I obviously this goes both ways with assumptions based on uh, female separatists. Separatists, what the fuck? Okay, all manosphere groups share something in common. They are misogynist uh, and anti-feminist movements. They believe feminism makes women dangerous to men. Therefore, male self-preservation calls for a complete disengagement from women. Men going their own way members believe in an imaginary, systemic, gynocentric bias against men in the real world. According to them, there are double standards in general in gender roles and bias against them in family courts, which is true, but again, they essentialize and just make this about women in general and not just the system overall. You could argue feminism should have solved this family court and bias against men situation, but you know, it's being filtered through patriarchy. It's not like it's separated. There's no actual pure non-revenge based mechanism to you know what I mean? It seems kind of the concept is tainted as it's being back and forth in this way. Uh, it is a strong belief in all manosphere groups, as it is among other manosphere groups, that women follow a predefined pattern regarding dating and marriage. They believe that all young and attractive women are promiscuous. They also believe these women purposefully practice hypergamy, where they have sex with different men and abandon them with a higher value man shows interest. I've also heard this just generically is like women want somebody with resources and status, and it's like I feel like dudes sort of do that as well, especially with like the Galtonian eugenics and basically artificial wombs that were thought of in the 1920s. Like that is like ultimate power right there based on a woman's body, and they sort of have that in like a reverse way. But since women, they have jobs now, or they always have actually, but they're more open about being able to have jobs. So I don't think a dude would want some broke ass chick. I just think most guys or most couples would want to be stable, and I don't think you can even make it with one job in this fucking economic decline. So it kind of takes two to sustain yourself, in my opinion, at least in my experience. Um, all right. Manosphere followers believe women naturally gravitate towards alpha men. There are attractive men who mistreat them, further solidifying a woman's beliefs in feminism. As a woman ages, they choose to settle down with beta males who can provide financially, even though they are not sexually attracted to them. With the financial security check, married women choose to have sex with attractive men outside of marriage. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. I also kind of heard this in the context of hypergamy, but like I said, I feel like it goes both ways. At this point, seriously, according to the Manosphere ideology, these women eventually divorce their husbands and receive favor from the courts in the divorce proceedings due to what they describe as female privilege. I think I already explained that that's just an essentialization based on their fault, and that feminism saw that. Whatever. Obviously, it should be done away with. The manosphere community uses jargon, including the red pill and blue pill metaphor borrowed from the Matrix film. Members of the manosphere who are awakened from the feminist delusion have taken the red pill, while men who do not support the MGTOW ideology are said to have taken the blue pill. Other jargon includes the use of pejorative terms to describe other men, such as cuck, beta, soy boy, and white knight. Yeah. Seriously. The views expressed by the Manosphere community are unorthodox. It comprises of women haters who mobilize against an imaginary conspiracy against men, while other manosphere communities like incel and voluntary celibates plot revenge on women, or the pickup artists use predatory tactics to sleep with women. MGTOW members swear off women altogether. They literally plan to go their own way, preferably very far from women. Oh, how specific. The Manosphere shares that men are the true victim of feminist organization and feminist movements like Me Too. The movement urges that men are left with no choice but to protect themselves from a powerful lot of rampaging, vindictive women making false accusations. Now, as much as I doubt the false accusation thing is definitely like a myth. Obviously, dudes are mostly doing the assaulting. Um, yeah, I'm not trying to put a butt as in I'm trying as in walking it back. I just think that there's obviously some overall hostility here that creates the illusion of this in some way, right? Damn. All right. Um. Oh. All right. List of other men rights movements under Manosphere. Father's Manifesto, an early men's rights movement MRM website mostly focused on spreading conspiracy theories. Another one, Voice for Men, a group that hopes to expose misandry on all levels, mostly comprised of members who are turned off by the fringe politics of other men's rights forums. RegisterHer.com. What the hell? A sub of Voice for Men that keeps an, quote, offender registry that tracks female murderers, female rapists, and false rape accusers. Oh, jeez. National Coalition for Men, a nonprofit group that raises awareness about the effect of sex discrimination on men and boys. Fathers for Justice, a British paternal rights group that gained notoriety in the mid 2000s. Red Pill, a group based on the classic sci fi film The Matrix, where the hero chooses to take. Yeah, we are on those. Okay. Um, you're enslaved, and blah blah blah. Red pillars believe that men are oppressed, not the women. Okay. Anti-Slut Defense, a pickup artist group that discusses tactics used by women to dodge their sex responsibilities, such as offering token resistance or claiming they were too drunk to say no. Uh, what? Paw Hate, a site for those who feel dissatisfied with the with the pickup artist movement. Okay. Gamergate, or an organization of mostly white males that turns traditional video game enthusiasts against feminists and gamers who advocate for the more inclusive game culture. Um, this is actually kind of true, though at the time, nobody saw it turning into this alt-right thing. Nobody saw it, okay? So when we were all making fun of feminists complaining about video game butts and tits and shit like that, how can anyone have taken that seriously? But yes, it did descend into total madness, and it really did start to actually be really mean and rude and descend into racism. And that started to just be like, oh, look at this, these minorities complaining, blah 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 blah. You know, that was all fun back then because we didn't actually take we didn't take it seriously, you know. But yeah. Now the ambassador knows that we all called fucking feminist feminazis and shit, so good going, us. Okay. 4chan, an online platform used by Gamergate to plot revenge against women. Alright. How Manosphere influences young people. According to the 2020 report, the Manosphere has affected how young people view feminism and women's rights. This report showed that 50% of young men between the age of 16 and 24 believe that feminism makes it harder for men to succeed. Most teachers claim that gender equality is difficult to teach, and most students don't believe sexism is a problem. When not addressed earlier enough, this mindset is carried into adulthood, breeding adults who are more than willing to further the Manosphere agenda. How to change the belief in the Manosphere ideology. All right. Um, you know, I kind of want to go into something that is a little more important. Hold on, guys. Sorry about this. So, obviously, the article was mostly saying that it's too late for the adults, but for the younger generation that still exists, we can't give up on them, even if they still come off like this. Now, uh, all right. So, the man himself.
So Vaush says, I cannot stress enough how.
All right. So, I guess this person deleted their tweet or something. Yeah. All right. So, this person says men don't fall down the alt-right pipeline slash MRI pipeline because the left isn't doing good enough outreach. They choose to subscribe to fascist ideology because they have an investment in maintaining their position in the social hierarchy and the liberation of other groups. All right, so uh, I would think this if it wasn't for thinking about this severely lately in terms of how fascism will utilize the stress of the society. Okay, they do, and they will cozy up to it. All right, so Vaush says a huge variety of social forces make young, insecure guys vulnerable targets for fascists looking to recruit. This recruitment is often conducted under the guise of self help and life advice. Young, insecure guys flock to that type of material by tens of millions. So when I was younger, true, I wanted to kind of read self help stuff because while I was still dating my husband in the early 2010s, like, I don't know, I just felt the need to sort of do something, but that's either here nor there. I can kind of understand that. Anyways, Vaush goes on to say, there's an enormous demand for that material, demand being aggressively met by fascists. Maybe it would be good if 12-year-old boys looking for life advice online were not met with search results dominated by the worst humans on Earth. Making an effort to reach out and meet that demand with non fascist advice on topics young, insecure guys tend to care about seems like a pretty reasonable idea to me. I have no idea why it's controversial. It doesn't require any compromise on any progressive principle. A weirdly large minority of leftists genuinely seem to believe, quote, advice for young men can only mean, quote, incel ideology and rape apologia, which is an absolutely insane misinterpretation that I cannot understand or sympathize with. And then he says, finally, at any rate, the fact that so many leftists think life advice for men must mean incel apologia indicates a hostility towards a subject that is incredibly convenient for the fascists who recruit almost entirely from the communities of young, socially isolated men. Now, this is very true, and I honestly couldn't have said it better myself. So, not to simp or nothing, but there's definitely layers to this where you have the economic turmoil sort of coinciding with women having rights, and then women's rights and feminism is scapegoated. But of course, even before economic decline, there was always this sort of separatist ideology uh, on both sides, right? But this is beyond the war at this point. I think adults need to get over themselves and find in their hearts to maybe love again, at least for their children. Um, yeah, I really think that this is definitely a problem in our times that demographers, like, if they cared at all, it wouldn't just be population growth, which, I keep harping on that because they would definitely be like, oh my god, the feminism is causing the decline, which, you know, You know what's worse than that? And I'll say it again, it's the lack of love, guys, and we need more of it. All right, I'll be back.